Good morning, my name is Rebecca from Nova Hearing Center, and this video is the general flow of a hearing aid consultation. So, what to expect when you go through a hearing aid consultation? It's a scary thing to deal with. A lot of people, they have been kind of deciding whether or not they really want to do this over the past couple of years. There's been a lot of research that it's like 7 to 10 years from the moment you notice any degree of deficit to the moment most people tend to walk into one of these places. So it can be a scary moment for a lot of people. That being said, it shouldn't be something to be feared. The test itself is very basic. At the end of the day, I think most people's fears are about the hearing aids themselves and not about the appointment. Most people just don't know what to expect. And that's what I'm doing here today with this video. I want to kind of clarify and demystify a little bit of this appointment for you so you know what to anticipate when you're coming in. All right, so now you're out of the lobby, in the actual room. What's going to happen from here on out? So the first thing that should happen is that anybody that you deal with should go over whatever intake information you have. Not every hearing loss is the same. Not everybody's going to walk into some of these places with the same sorts of issues. They tend to kind of bundle around a couple of things, but that doesn't always mean the same thing every single time. So they should go through whatever sort of intake information you have. Other thing that's really important that everybody should be doing is an otoscopy. Otoscopy is just a fancy word for looking in your ear with the little light, seeing if there's anything in there. It sounds so basic, but it is missed so much of the time. So make sure that's done, because you don't know if there's anything in the ears that can be visible, that can be, an obvious problem. Earwax, for example, is a very common one, but even if you don't have earwax backup, sometimes we can't diagnose an ear infection, but sometimes we can be suspicious of an ear infection when we look in there. Certainly, we can see if there's been any scarring with your eardrum or anything like that. All these things are really important because things can contribute to a hearing loss that have nothing to do with your actual sense and whether or not your actual sense is starting to go. So otoscopy every time. If they don't do an otoscopy, don't think about it. Don't go there. Hi, welcome to our hearing booth. This is where the important stuff happens, okay? So we're gonna have you in a chair right here. You're gonna have this window over here. The audiologist or the hearing dispenser, whatever you may have, is probably gonna be sitting on the other side with their machine. It's got an audiometer. On your end, what you're going to do is generally a couple of different tests. Most of them are pretty similar to one another. Most of them just involve you sitting in a chair and pushing a button. So that's the good news, nothing difficult. First test that everybody's had, this is called an air conduction test. Air conduction testing is kind of what gives us the best idea as far as what kind of prescription you might need. And that's those two little lines that are on audiograms. I'll go over that a little bit more later. With air conduction, we put these headphones on your ears. Most places are going to give you some sort of response button, although some of them might have you just raise your hand whenever you hear a sound. Or if you're at a home appointment, they might have you just raise your hand whenever you hear a sound. And they just go through a bunch of different pitches. So, low sounds, high sounds. They do get quieter and quieter as things go on. At the end of the day, the whole point of this test is to find out the quietest that you can hear. Okay? Second test that's done is bone conduction. Bone conduction is not optional. A lot of places do not feel the need to do this, and this is very important for you. It is your health. This lets you know whether you have a sensory issue or whether there is something physically wrong with your ears. You should not ever fit a hearing aid if there is a physical problem with the ear, unless that has been signed off by a doctor that it is not getting better, okay? Bone conduction is not optional. Beyond that, there might be other tests to do. A lot of places will do some sort of speech test. They'll put the headphones back on, do some sort of repetition with you. Might be just repeating words. There might be a sentence, might be something with noise in the background. Just depends on what the needs are, what's required state by state. Another thing that I find very important that a lot of people miss is that they should also get your loud end, what is comfortable on the loud side. This is for you too, because if you have a hearing aid and the cutoff is just whatever the natural cutoff for the instrument is, that's not good for you. Number one, it's not good for you because it might just be too loud. And number two, it's not good for you because it's not going to sound as true to life if they don't know where your loud end is. The goal of the hearing aid is to take the room you have to work with and squeeze all the sounds into that space. If you just leave the other end open, it's not going to squeeze the sounds, and a lot of things might sound too loud for you. So that's something that I am big on, is always doing that test as well. At the end of the day, it depends on where you are. It depends on who you go to. Air conduction, bone conduction. Bone conduction. So now we're on to the last part of the appointment, the scary part, the sale. So this is something I can go into many videos about, but let's just start with the basics here. Anybody that has been doing this should have multiple different models of hearing aid. I have never been to any sort of place, even, club stores and some of these new, in the grocery store type places, they always have multiple levels of hearing aid. So if you are told that there's only one thing that's going to fit you, that's probably not correct. And I wouldn't go somewhere where they have one option for you. Just personal opinion, I wouldn't do it. When there's a discussion about the hearing aid, because of different styles and things, you should really feel comfortable with what you're doing. There should be a discussion about why you're being put into that product, why it's necessary for you, and especially if it's the top of the line, why that's necessary for you too. Don't assume that even if you have horrible hearing, that you have to be put in the most expensive thing at all times. That may or may not be true. Really, what's more important for you in this part of the appointment is, number one, don't be passive. Be a part of this decision-making process. It's better for you because you're going to feel more involved with your own healthcare than having somebody just shove something on you. And it's going to end up, trust me on this, being something that you're more a part of when you feel more comfortable with what you're looking at. Let me do a quick example here. So, I have a case of hearing aids here. Right there. These are Silk CICs. They are some of the smallest hearing aids that are available. Definitely the smallest ones that you can walk out of the store with same day. So, I could just hand these to you. I could say, these are the hearing aids you want. They're small, they're cute, I like them, go do your thing. That's not right. That's not how this process should go. When I recommend something to you, it should not be what I have at my desk handy and available for me. There should be some sort of explanation onto why that works for you. I could have these. I can do an example here where the same sort of hearing aid might work, but it would make a little bit more sense. I've already done, we've already discussed things at the beginning. It's not like I don't know anything about you at this point. So I could say, hey, we have these hearing aids, these Silks, and I think they're good for you specifically because you have explained to me that you want something that is going to be very discreet, and you really feel that you're going to wear them more the less they are seen. Or, it could be something where I know that you have expressed to me that you do a lot, on the water and you're around a lot of wind. CICs are often good for something like that because being that they're further in the ear, they're going to be further away from wind noise. And if that's your favorite thing to do, then maybe that's something that you could look into. Or, for the other end, you could say it could be something based on the fit alone. Sometimes little things like this fit some of the lower frequencies better because they block up the entire ear. So there's many reasons why a hearing aid can be fit. And just because they hand you one does not necessarily mean that that hearing aid is wrong. It just means that it's not being tailor-made to you. At the point of that, if somebody's just throwing the same hearing aid over and over and over again, and you're coming in for service, just go online. I mean, at that point, what's the real difference there? You should be a part of that experience, and that's the most important thing, because you're going to have better results with anything that you feel comfortable with. I never fit a hearing aid on somebody that they're not comfortable wearing. That's the most important thing. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you can subscribe to our channel, that would be great. You can like us on Facebook, on Instagram. We are Nova Hearing Center VAB on Instagram. And check out our website, novahearingcenter.com. We have a great blog, and I'd love for you to get involved. Thanks so much. Have a good one.